That's perfect, Supreet. All right. Looks like we've got full house here today. Welcome, everybody. We're going to give it another 30 seconds to let people trickle in, and then we will begin. I'm really excited about our session today. I know it's 5:30, but it looks like it's 9 at night outside because of the savings, but I thank you everyone for joining today. My name is Mashroor Chaudhry, and I'm the manager of recruitment and sales for the Chang School. Before we get started, oops. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. I want to pay my respects to the Indigenous peoples, elders, and ancestors who stewarded and cared for nature and the people who lived on the land where TMU is located today. At the university, we have made a deep and long to truth and reconciliation. I invite you to learn more about this work online. Now I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it in the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. And you'll have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenters and speakers by typing your questions into the question box of the control panel. You may send in your questions during the session at any time, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. So now I'd like to introduce our presenters for today. Tamer Abdu, Academic Coordinator for various programs here at the Chang School, and Jenny Babalu, also Academic Coordinator for this program at the Chang School. Supreet Saini, a student of the certificate who's working currently as a level 2 technical support specialist at Behaveox, and Jason Kim, our industry expert, who's a senior manager of business intelligence and predictive modeling at CBC. So I'll now invite Tamer to go over a brief overview of the certificate. Over to you, Tamer.
Thank you, Mashroor. Happy to be here. Welcome, panelists, welcome, and welcome attendees, of course. Okay, so let's start our presentation today. So let's move on. So our certificate is an online certificate, and it consists of 6 courses. And actually, 3 of these courses will go in person as well as online in the winter. If you started in the winter, taking some courses, considering that you will be taking some courses in the spring and the summer as well, you might be finishing the certificate by the end of the year. Let's move on. So if you are looking for fundamentals, so this is the right place. If you are very savvy with Python, and with R, that's the other programming language that we are teaching in this course, and you are leading teams in data analytics field, and you feel yourself stuck at some point, so the best way is to go back to basics. In this certificate, we focus more on the approaches, on the techniques. We value the techniques over the tools. We believe that tools are there to be used. It's not the way around. And that's our main focus, and that's our vision, actually. If you are a beginner and you have no knowledge about any of these programming languages that I just mentioned, this is also the right place. We start from scratch. So I'm teaching Python. This term So up to the midterm, we only focus on the basics, the fundamentals of Python, repetition statements, selection statements, basic data structures, and we move on with database. We do that the same as well. So if you are a beginner and you know nothing about this field, that's the best place that you can start with, in my opinion. Let's move on. Three of the 3 out of 6 courses actually, they are considered to be the prerequisite to the master's program in our university. These are the C and 1 to 3, that's the stats and the probability course. I wish that students call it the stats and probability, but students call it the R course. Anyways, and the C and 830, that's the data structures with Python. And the third course is the 110, that's the database course, where you will be introduced to different types of database, like the structured ones, tables and columns, semi-structured, like JSONs and XMLs, and unstructured, that can be an introductory to text analytics. In this certificate, we also teach R and Python, and definitely SQL. Let's move on. So we have many delivery methods in our certificate. We believe that each one of us has their own way to learn. So we have pre-recorded videos that you can access before coming to the class, before coming to the live sessions. We have weekly live sessions where you can have the chance to see your instructor who can answer and address any concern or any question that you may have. We have also discussion forum across all the sections. So if you are stuck in the middle of the night and you have a question, even in the weekend, you can post that question to the discussion forum, and within 48 hours, you will get a reply for one of our remarkable teaching assistants or an instructor. And also, this question and this answer will be seen from all the students across all the sections. So for the benefit of the entire class, in my opinion, post your concerns or questions to this nice platform, the discussion forum. We have also hands-on labs. We focus more on the technical part, the practical side. If we are recommending you to read some textbooks, and of course, we do that in most of the courses, and you find the textbooks a little bit dry. So the labs or the tutorial labs are there for you to complete or to complement the theoretical background that you can get from the textbooks. We have also one-on-one meetings in the capstone project where you will have the chance to meet your supervisor who will guide you through the process of thriving in your project. We have also virtual tutor who runs weekly sessions 3 times a week, actually. So you can attend any of those sessions to ask any of your questions, if it's regarding assignments, regarding the lab, even regarding the concepts. Okay, let's move on. As I told you, we are not promoting tools here. We are not even teaching tools. However, we need the hands to deliver the concepts that we are learning. If I'm talking about XML, how to see the big picture of this data set. If I'm talking about a rectangular data set or structured data set, how to see the entity relationship of this database. Of course, you cannot do that manually. However, it might be a good starting point, but we need tool to do that for you. However, we focus more on the concepts, we focus more on the approach, we focus more on the contextual understanding. We make sure that you pay attention to fine details as to be a good data analyst who care a lot about their dashboard, be organized as possible. And then it's up to you whether to use base X platform or application, whether to use what else, whether to use scikit-learn library. If you find a different library that do the same thing, go ahead. But however, we open the floor for our students to practice, especially in the capstone project, which is the last course that you need to complete to earn your certificate. Okay, let's move on. So on the website of the data analytics certificate, and I really encourage you to do that, go to the website and check your location. And there is a very nice diagram will show you the average salary of some of the professions and some of the positions related to the data analytics. Check that. It's a very nice tool. And let's move on. Let's move on with this one. And if you ask me, actually, as a data analyst, if I complete this certificate, am I going to be a senior data analyst? In my opinion, you need to integrate this certificate with something else, whether your major background in healthcare, whether your major background in mathematics. So try to have a base to this professional certificate. So you might start as a junior and then you can move up. Okay, let's move on. Oh, that's okay. This is great. Yeah. Thank you,
Awesome.
everybody.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much, Tamer, for sharing that overview and taking us through the different components of the certificate and
pleasure.
the highlights as well. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Supreet Saini, student of the certificate, who is now working as a level 2 technical support specialist at Behavevox, and she will share her journey and experience in the sector.
Thank you, Mashur. Good evening, everyone. My name is Supreet Saini, and I'm currently working as a tech support specialist level 2 at an AI company called Behavevox. This is the second time I have had the honor of being invited as a guest speaker at Toronto Metropolitan University, and I'm truly excited to be here again to share my journey with you. I graduated from TMU with a certificate in data analytics, big data, and predictive analytics, and I can confidently say that this program has played a significant role in shaping my career. So I'll start with this question that you might have. What motivated me to choose this program? So when I decided to pursue further education, I was looking for a way to upskill myself and transition into a more challenging and dynamic field. And after a careful research, I realized that a career in data analytics aligned perfectly with my strengths and interests. And the world is increasingly driven by data, and I wanted to be part of that wave. However, I knew I had to learn a lot from scratch, like from programming in Python to mastering SQL and data visualization tools like Tableau, Power BI, etc. I consider various options, including boot camps, but ultimately I chose the data analytics program at TMU. So, what stood out to me was the program's flexible curriculum, which allowed me to learn at my own pace and ensure that I had a solid understanding of each topic. So, this was pretty crucial for me because I wanted to build a strong foundation without feeling rushed. And If I talk about my experience at TMU, it has been nothing short of amazing. So, the program was designed with working professionals in mind, offering online evening classes that fit perfectly with my work schedule. And I appreciated how the courses were structured, covering a broad range of essential skills like Python, databases, SQL, Tableau, R, and many more. And the hands-on labs were particularly impactful. They were not just theoretical exercises, but practical applications that reinforced my learning. And one of the most memorable aspects of the program was the community. The support I received from the instructors, teaching assistants, and peers was incredible. The instructors were not just knowledgeable, but also approachable, always ready to answer your questions, concerns, and provide guidance. Also, the online forum were a great resource where we could post our questions, queries, and get timely responses. This collaborative environment made my learning more engaging and helped me to stay motivated throughout the program. So, in conclusion, TMU's data analytic program has been a game changer for me. It provided me with the technical skills and confidence I needed to take the next step in my career. Since the completing of this program, I have already applied knowledge to build a performance dashboard for my team, which has been a valuable contribution in my current role. The skills I have gained are not just theoretical, they are practical tools that I'm using daily to add value to my work. And I'm looking forward to applying what I have learned to the real world challenges and continuing to grow in this field. And for anyone considering a similar path, I can't emphasize enough the importance of continuous learning and staying curious. At last, I would like to thank TMU for inviting me again and giving me opportunity to share my story with all of you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Supreet. Your story is a lovely one. That's why we like sharing it with all of our learners. It really shows what you can do with this certificate, how it can help you, but then it also, from what you just shared, right, it helps our prospective learners to see what a student can go through and what the experience is like. So it was our pleasure to have you again, and thank you for sharing that. With that, I will now introduce Jason Kim, our industry expert, who is a senior manager in business intelligence and predictive modeling at CBC, one of the largest media companies in the country. And he will share some of his experiences and some emerging trends in the sector. Over to you, Jason.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Mashur. I'm Jason. I'm the senior manager of the BI team at the CBC, as Mashur just said. I've graduated from the program. Now it's been quite a long time, I realize. I think it was in 2018, before the pandemic changed the world. And I'm pretty, just like what Supreet just told you, I wouldn't be here if I didn't strongly believe that this program will teach you skills that will really help you with a career change or in upskilling yourself so that you are ready for the data economy, right? And so I made that decision really early on in 2018, and I don't regret it at all. I feel personally that I really found the kind of job and the kind of work that I am truly meant to do and that I love and enjoy every day. So yeah, and back then, since the program was fairly new, there wasn't anything like asynchronous videos or anything like that. And so they've done a really great job of enhancing the program as well as time has gone on. But just like Supreet, I came to the program because I was looking for something practical and something that I could use to make a career change. I'd worked in digital marketing for a while, and that was sort of my first step to learning about data analytics, because in marketing, there is actually quite an advanced data analytics practice. And so that was the hook that got me in. And then I got my first data job at the Globe and Mail, which, as it turned out, had a very advanced predictive analytics and data science practice. And it was actually a really great first job, first data job to work in. And that's sort of one tip I have for anyone who takes this program and finishes it is, if you're working now and you're taking this certificate program to change careers, try to find some way of incorporating the skills that you learn in the program into your work. So either interact with the BI or data teams at your current workplace and try to get an understanding of how they work, build a relationship with them on one hand, and then on the other hand, also in your own particular domain. Let's say you're in HR or in customer service or whatever, right? Think about a data question that you can answer for your business and just go about answering it. Get some buy-in from your supervisor or boss. Let them know that this is something you're doing to enhance your career, and they'll appreciate it, right? And so, because I think that's one of the main mistakes that I think a lot of people make is that they assume that you go through the program and then there's going to be a job waiting for you right at the end, right? Of course, we know that that's not the case because the job market is very competitive. The economy is not too hot. And the data industry has just grown so much over the last 4 or 5 years. You're going to have to do things to make yourself stand out after you finish this great program. But I can say that the program sets you up for success. And that's really all you can ask, right? And a lot of the rest has to do with what you do after the program. And so what I suggest is either work where you're currently at and kind of develop your career and move yourself towards data analytics as a career path. Or if you're in between jobs or a student or something like that, you have to be a lot more creative. And so something that I did was I participated in a City of Toronto hackathon to basically predict which intersections in the city were the most dangerous to pedestrians. And actually, this is what I did for my capstone project for this program. And eventually, what happened is I didn't win the hackathon, but the judges were so impressed with my work that they invited me to something even better than winning the hackathon, which is I had to present my approach to the director of transportation, Barbara Gray, who I believe is still the director of transportation in the city, because they were interested in applying data science approaches to making the city safer, right? And so I think that's like much better than winning a hackathon because now I can say that, I actually made a difference with my work in my city. I solved a real business problem without having to work for the city of Toronto. And I did that like on the side, right? I didn't need to work for them. They didn't need to pay me anything. It's something that I just did, and eventually through networking, got a seat at the table and got the opportunity to present, right? And so I'd say, I think the first step is to take the program, finish it, mold your capstone in a way that I think will set yourself up for success in the job market. And then even with the first job you take, think about ways to use your data skills, and also think about where the company is at in its data journey. So if the current company you're with, or the first company that you join, if they're very early on in their data journey, that's actually a great opportunity for you because you can make a big difference. That's what happened with me at the Globe and Mail, where I was the only data analyst that worked there. And although their data practice was very advanced, I had a lot to do. And that means I had to learn a lot of things. I had to meet a lot of people. And my voice was much louder because, I was the only analyst that worked there, right, at the time. And so, And so now I'm a manager of a team of 10 people, one data scientist, 2 engineers, and then 7 analysts. And so I grew that team from a team of 1 myself in 2019 to now 10 people, right? And so and we manage the first enterprise data lake that the CBC has built, which has trillions of rows of data about what everyone does when they interact with us. Like, for example, during the Olympics, which just recently passed in Paris, right? And so, and as well as the U.S. election and other events that people really turn to us for, right? And so, yeah, I'd say one of the biggest trends you should watch out for, and this is something that I can say pretty confidently that is not a fad. Everyone in the industry is talking about Gen AI and large language models. Now, this is very different from, well, this is related to what you'll learn in the program, but it is a very different discipline. And perhaps in the future, there might be a certificate program in Gen AI, right, out of TMU, in which case I'd be interested in taking it. Uh, Something you should be aware of is that a lot of businesses, even conservative ones like the CBC, are investing heavily in Gen AI and are using it to solve business problems. So, for example, at the CBC, we're using Gen AI to, for example, dynamically transcribe text because the CBC, like a lot of other media organizations, need to make sure all of their media is consumable by everybody. So no matter whether you are sighted or not, whether you can hear or not, we need to make our work accessible, right? And so we're leveraging Gen AI to do that. We're using Gen AI to read all the customer comments that people leave on our product app stores or write in to our customer service people or over the phone. And so we're using that audience feedback to build better experiences for all Canadians, right? And so, and that's just from the CBC, which has a public perception of being a very conservative organization, kind of old-fashioned, right? And so, think about all the other industries that are in this city and in this country, and I can guarantee you that all of them are thinking about how to leverage Gen AI. So maybe after you're done the program, maybe after you've had your first year or two in your first data job, I'd encourage you to think about Gen AI and taking some courses in that as well as sort of the next stepping stone in developing your career. So yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason, for that immense breadth of information and really valuable knowledge that you just provided. You know, just going from your project to talking to the director of transportation of the city, and then now working in CBC. That's the journey that we want our students to take a look at and sort of get inspired by, right? So thank you very much for sharing that. We'll now open it up to Q&A. I know there's already been a few questions that came in, and thank you to Raymond and Jenny for answering some of those via chat. I will let you all know that the recording for this session and the slides will be available to you all after the session is complete. And so yeah, with that, the next question that I have from Ryan is, are there any dashboard labs? So I don't know if Tamara or Jenny, you want to take that.
Okay, Tamer, maybe you can take that related to the Python course, or
Sure, it depends. Sure, thank you, Jenny. It depends on what you are referring to dashboards. If you are referring to visualization, so the answer is yes, we have these kind of visualization tools across all the courses that we have. If you are referring to the pipeline of the approaches, so yes, we have that in the capstone. And actually, in the capstone course, in my opinion, the challenge is not in coding, especially with the AI agents now. And also the challenge is not in retaining your knowledge for the concepts that the supervisor might bring up. The challenge is to piece things together, is to tie things together, is to organize your approach, which should be implemented before which technique, how to avoid any bias that might be introduced in my approach, how to come up with a robust approach. And in the capstone projects, the supervisors, also the examiners, do care less about the ending results. They focus more on the process itself. Can you mimic this approach in similar scenarios? Yes or no? That's the main focus. So short answer is yes. I hope that I answered that question, Ryan. Yeah. And please let us know if you have any.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Tamer. The next question is actually about, it's something that Jason touched on a little bit. It is about AI. And basically, the question is, how much of AI tools will we be using in this certificate? And I know you touched a little bit on it with our AI-assisted coding tool, but if you could maybe speak a little bit about how much of AI is involved in the certificate.
Sure, I can take that. So with the AI currently, we are touching that field with a very with a very caution. Actually, we do not want to compromise our the vision of our certificate here by generalizing everything and integrating the Gen AI in everything. We need to have a very good purpose. We need to have a very good background and need for that. In the capstone, currently, we are allowing our students in integrating the AI assistant coding plugins when they code. Because the reason behind that, the challenge here is not, as I mentioned, is not in coding. On the contrary, I need a tool to document my code. However, the code will not help you when it comes to critical thinking. The code will not help you, or the tool will not help you when it comes to contextual understanding. Probably it will generalize everything. It's on you to bring that to the context. It might be a distractor, by the way, if you start to use it without solid understanding of exactly what you need to do. So that's it. So currently in the capstone, it's only allowed in one milestone, which is the coding when you start to code.
Great. No, I think that's an awesome way to look at it, right? We want to make sure that we have all the things needed before we integrate tools like that. And I love the approach that we are taking, and that it's also part of the capstone if somebody really wants to integrate it that way. Next question is a little bit technical. So it's about, do we need any specifications in terms of computer, laptop for this course? And I believe we don't need a lot of specifications, but if you can go into that a little bit.
Well, definitely connection will be needed. So we will be doing, and there was a question about the live sessions. I already answered, but I can say a few things about that too, Marshur. So all the courses have pre-recorded video lectures. All of them are pre-recorded, so they can watch the video lecture before coming to the live session. We will have weekly live sessions with our students. All the instructors will have those live sessions together with the teaching team, with the teaching assistants. And Yeah, those will be live sessions weekly, and we solely recommend students to attend those sessions, although they are not mandatory, and they won't be recording for the live sessions because we want everyone to be freely ask their questions, have a collaborative and friendly environment. But the video lectures are already pre-recorded that they can work on them. So they need for sure good internet connection. I should say that should be the first thing because we will have live sessions every week. And of course, in terms of the programming languages or all the tools that we will be using in the certificate, we have a platform for that. We have the Azure platform that everything we need is already downloaded there. So the students do not need to download any programming languages or any tools before coming to the sessions. So during the first week, all those instructions will be shared with them, and they will have a sandbox environment where all the tools are already installed and prepared for them with the last versions.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jenny. Next question. This is something that I've seen in previous info sessions as well. This question is about having maths as a background and asking how much of maths is involved in the certificate. So I know we've had this before where we always let people know that we don't need a lot of background in maths, and not to worry, that's something that we can always help you with. But yeah, if you could expand on that a little bit.
Of course, I can take that. So yes, no math background is needed. That is the starting point because as Tamer was mentioning also, we are really caring a lot for the analysis and the concepts. So in our prerequisite courses, in the first courses, I may say, we will take them to the math segments that are needed. Of course, we need statistics, but we will teach them. Okay, we will teach them how to use statistics, and everything we touch will be practical because we know that these are not statistics courses, right? So these are data science courses. So everything we touch will be practical, and we will be in terms of coding as well. But we have students coming from various backgrounds, and this diversity is really something powerful. We value that a lot. That's why in terms of the starting point, no background is needed. So we have some students who have some computer background, computer science background, or math background, but the starting point, we don't need any prior knowledge. After a few weeks in the courses, we will see that we're starting to use and learn and talk the same language. So we'll come to that common level in the very few weeks of the certificate. So no prior knowledge is needed.
Yes, I can't agree more. I've gotten that from a lot of students, and from students that have been in the program later on who've confirmed that yes, they didn't really need that knowledge that they were a little bit afraid of in the beginning. This next question is for our guest speakers, so specifically for Supreet and Jason. You can also add on that. Lots of data analytics certificates out there. Why do you think this one is better in terms of employment in the field and not having any prior experience in data before?
Okay, I can definitely take this one. So the very first reason was TM is one of the reputed universities in Ontario. Secondly, it's flexible curriculum. So as I mentioned, I did my research, right? So I checked this course or like this certificate in 3 universities, TMU, University of Toronto, and York. I found this one better because of its flexible curriculum, online classes. And then I checked that, I checked the curriculum, I checked the courses, right? What TMU is offering, and I noticed that it's offering like all sort of courses that are covering like SQL, Tableau, or basic skills. So that's why I opted for this program at TMU.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Supreet. Jason, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah. I think ditto to all of the above. I did my research, so I'm overeducated. So I have a PhD. I was considering doing a master's and other things, but I saw immediately that TMU's program stood out because it focused on those hard skills that you're going to need to make any kind of career change. very minimal stuff on theory, which I appreciated. And it's very hands-on. And then the capstone is very flexible. Really, it really depends on you, like what kind of initiative you're going to take in applying the skills to a real-world problem, right? So, and it's a very low, compared to like a full master's program, a very low commitment in terms of hours and also money, because the full master's costs a lot of time, costs a lot of money to do. So yeah, those are all things that really led to my decision and why it stood out. There was a similar question actually in the similar vein about like other online classes like Udemy or LinkedIn and so on. I can tell you that I also took some classes on Udemy and Coursera, and especially Coursera is quite good because often it's universities that are teaching the classes, and they're usually very well thought out, right? And of course free. But the problem I personally found with both Udemy and also Coursera is um, I didn't have the discipline to do those courses like on my own time, like making sure that I submitted all the assignments and on time, blah blah blah. Right? There was no real repercussions for missing 3 weeks worth of assignments or anything like that, right? And so, just for my own sake of discipline and adherence to the program, I like the live structure of TMU's program, and I needed that discipline to keep me accountable, right? Um, the other thing is that it's that in-person component is actually quite useful for networking and for uh, getting to know other people in other industries, and so that I found to be very helpful. And like the courses are actually quite challenging, and so it's often good to have a community, not only of the instructors, the TAs, and also fellow students to rely on to learn from them, right? Rather than some random online forum or like in the case of Udemy or Coursera, like almost zero help, right? And so, yeah, I'd say those are, I think, main reasons. You could certainly take those courses, and I did, but I think as far as getting the job, if you think the only reason why you can't make the career change is because of hard skills acquisition, then I think go ahead, take those courses. But I can tell you that the time and money being asked from the program is actually not very much, and it's worth, I think, in my opinion, worth doing for the upside of having a structured program, having instructors that know what they're doing, having that personal connection, and having the accountability of a structured course behind you.
Great.
I'd like to add one more thing. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you,
yeah,
Mashur.
absolutely. Go for it.
We also have Try Mentoring program. So over there, you can reach out to any industry experts like Jason. You can ask your question, ask them to review your resume. And I met a lot of data analyst managers over there, like amazing people. They shared valuable insights with me. So yeah, that's another add-on over here.
And Mashur, I will also add the Cheng School and the TMU support, right? So as a Cheng School student, you will have resources coming from the course shells as well, how to get ready for the interviews, how to get ready for the job search. And you will have a career advisor, you will have academic advisor. And as a student of the TMU, Toronto Metropolitan University, you will have some resources for your networking, how to create your LinkedIn page, how to connect with the data science community, let's say, or how to create your own portfolio, how to get ready for their interviews. There are many resources that the Cheng School and the TMU as a big university providing to all the students. And as a student, you will have all those benefits.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Dave, is there anything you would like to add to this? I know this has come up as a question in the past as well.
In with regards to services available at the school, or
Yeah, support available in
yeah.
terms
So
of.
I mean, I think just to touch on what the speakers have said here already, I think what makes this program in particular really great is there are a lot of internal supports, which is it's quite robust. But in addition to that, there is myself and my colleague Abby who work as academic and career advisors, and we're more at the decision-making phase of your professional and academic journey. We can help you with some of those decisions, whether you're, considering going into graduate work or choosing a particular specialization within your field. Um, and then there's also a career education specialist named Dina Marcos who works exclusively. She works with the Career Center at TMU, but she works exclusively with Chang School students. And I know from having had many conversations with her, like she has helped a ton of students who have graduated from this program in particular. She has like a career strategy package basically that she gives them in terms of everything from job search to cover letter to networking information. So she's quite the specialist for this program in particular. So yeah, to the point that was being made, there's really wraparound support for when it comes to academic and professional guidance.
Love that. Thank you so much for that, Dave. I know we are at just over time.
I just wanted to mention something regarding the courses. The courses also are credit courses. All the courses are credit. So you will get university credentials. So you can use these courses in applying for more courses in the university. Like as I mentioned, three out of 6 courses are the prerequisite to the master's course in TMU.
Yes, that's a great point to add because it allows you to ladder on to a further master's if you want to, right? And if you want to become a data scientist, that's I'm guessing that's the best way to go, right? After this certificate, you can go into that direction. I know we started with an AI question. We are just a couple of minutes over time, so we'll finish off with an AI question as well. This is from Vasundhara Taneja. Her question is, I would like to get into the AI industry in the long run, but I do not come from a computer science background. So I'd like to know if this course will be beneficial and can be a stepping stone towards that. So I guess maybe Jenny, you can take that, and Jason, maybe you can add on it a little bit after.
So if you like, you can start, Jason. So as you like, because you are in the industry, so that would be very helpful, of course.
Yeah,
and then
Sure.
Since we don't have much time, I think we should keep more.
Okay. I think this certificate program will set you up to go into any of the other data disciplines. So data engineering, data science, Gen AI or AI in general, or advanced data analytics, predictive analytics. It will set yourself up for success, give you the foundational knowledge you'll need to become a senior level role in those roles. So I'm living proof of that. I started as a data analyst. Now I manage a team of data scientists, engineers, and analysts, right? And so, yeah, it'll give you, and all the skills you learn are all those professions use the skills that you'll learn in the class: SQL, Python, and so on, right? So I don't think you're going to have any problems there. But we can't. And I think TMU can't overpromise, though, what the program will provide. So it will not make you, I don't know, able to leverage LLMs out of the box for any odd business niche use case. Okay, you might be able to learn those skills if you do that in your capstone and you work very hard, right? But as Tamara was saying, the program is not a Gen AI course, although they have, you are able to use some of the tools in the coding section. But yeah, if you want to become a data scientist, get into Gen AI or LLMs, this will be a good foundation, but you're going to have to take another you're going to have to get that work experience and also develop those more advanced skills elsewhere. but one step at a time, right? I don't think you can get to GenAI, large language models from zero that quickly, right? So yeah, although things are getting a lot easier these days, and the industry is changing very rapidly, and the technology is becoming very quickly mainstream. But still, I'd say, yeah, you need basic data skills and programming skills to be able to leverage these tools properly.
Thank you for that, Jason, because from academia, we always say that, the basics are important. So it's great to hear that in the industry, the basics are valued as well. And I was going to mention that the structure of the certificate is having that, let's say, construction that all the courses are building on top of one of the other, and which means that we're starting with the basics, but there is room for improvement. And with the backgrounds and the time that is committed to the courses, the students can take that level to a really different place. So after the certificate, for example, we have the practical data science and machine learning advanced certificate, right? So it is somewhere between the certificate that you're interested in and the master's program. So even between the certificate and the master's program, there is another advanced certificate where more deep learning concepts, the video and audio data sets, and a little more sophisticated algorithms are discovered and examined. So that's why I think the beginning is important, having that core knowledge and structure, as Jason was mentioning, so that the students will be able to take different paths where needed, and using the capstone project as a portfolio, I will say, for their CV, resume, and for their career search will be the best thing to use, because they will be working on an open source data set. They can really show to their, teammates, colleagues, and also the domain that they were trying to focus on is important. If they're working on a healthcare domain, they can proceed with that. If they're willing to work on a finance domain, they can proceed on a data set which is familiar with those domains or those knowledge or the practices, and they can really use the capstone project for their own job search and career advancement, I should say.
I can add something here. So by the end of the capstone, you will start to question so many things that will open so many doors for you. For example, you might question, is it about big data, or is it about good data? Is it about explaining the approach? Is it about explainable AI? Can I explain the behavior of this approach or not? Should I apply this blindly? What am I going to get if I do that? And actually, when you start to use the AI or Gen AI, you might face something like, okay, so how to do something? Yes, that's on my best friend, the AI, but how to explain it, that will be on you. How to explain the output, why you are getting these results. That's what we are focusing on in our certificates. I will mention a very quick example on the needs for math. And we mentioned that if you do not have any knowledge, and we focus more on these topics actually, and we are focused on the basics. Last week we were talking about cosine similarity measure. What is cosine? Am I going to check whether two vectors are pretty much similar to each other or not? That was in the database course. We do not mention the term and leave it there. We do not tell the students, look at the textbook, go to page X and check the formula, the mathematical formula. No, we will start to take that formula, try to make it as a code, and then try to make sense out of it, to feel it. And then it's up to you. Use a third-party library to do that work for you, but you need to walk those steps before just concluding everything and running the tools without any knowledge, without basic understanding. And that's actually what we always focus on and encourage our students to do.
Okay, well, thank you so much for adding that. I think this was great discussion. I think we had a really good conversation, and we were able to a lot of our questions. When I do our closing comments today, I just want to thank all of our presenters for taking the time to attend today's session. In the chat, I've put in the contact information and also a link to the certificate if you want to go ahead and enroll. Enrollment is open. And if you are interested in finding out more information about this certificate, visit our website at continuing.torontomu.ca or email me directly at mash.chaudhry@torontomu.ca. After this, you will receive the slides, the recording of the session, and also a survey within 24 to 48 hours. And on behalf of the Chang School and our presenters, thank you for joining us today. I know we went a little bit over, so thank you for your patience and staying with us, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.